soup, soup. Let's start the show.
Welcome, brothers and sisters, to the Neverdaily podcast. We're back in action.
Finally. And we're going to be talking today about season 5 of Stranger Things in its entirety. Spoiler alert. Just kidding. We're not
I
gonna
haven't watched it yet. I've just watched like some commentary, and you know,
Here's
it's
the
always
problem
funny.
about commentary. Everyone has an opinion. Most of them smell like assholes. Isn't that how the saying goes?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I think that's it. Yeah, my favorite one so far, and I haven't watched it, was the way the main character figured out that he also had superpowers was they were unlocked when he came out. I'm like, that's weird. Okay.
People will force anything to their agenda.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what it is.
it's funny. And it got me thinking. I was trying to think of, and maybe there's somebody in the back door that knows well enough comic books and stuff, but I was trying to think of like outwardly like gay superheroes. Like I know that there has to be some, you know, like which one, but you know, I don't know because I'm not that big into comic books. But I was thinking about that. I was trying to think, okay, who was the one that took the first, you know, bold step in creating an outwardly gay comic book superhero, and I don't know.
Superman's pretty gay, but
Yeah. One of the things I got hooked on over the holiday season was, I'm calling them podcasts in a box, but they're there's games. Some of them are just cards, but some of them are there's a game associated with it. And they're all like super deep, hard-hitting questions that really make you think about, like, do you know the person? So there's this one, it's made by Brooke Romney. No, there's no sponsorship here.
no relation to Brooke Shields.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. You used an opism. Thank you. I appreciate that. She's got this game called Do You Even Know Me? She's also an author, and she's really put something good together here. So if you go to Amazon and you look up Do You Even Know Me, you'll find her. I was like, oh, doesn't like shipped, you know, I'm totally like spoiled, Amazon spoiled. So I was like, what do you mean it's not going to be here today?
Yeah.
But I believe that she ships them. She fulfills, you know, so because it took a couple days for him to get here, but Do You Even Know Me was one of the games, and it's just really cool. Like, so we've started using them at the dinner table with the kids, and it's really fun. I also, under my breath to my wife, I was like, I could see how this game could cause a lot of fights, you know, because you think, you know, one thing that it really brings out is it brings, like me, I'm obviously, I'm a pontificator. So if I see a question that makes me think inwardly, I talk outwardly for way too long. As Luther pointed out on an episode of Guestnicity, where he said he didn't have me on because I think too much and talk too much and analyze too much about, he's like, just give me the race. I don't need to know all the other stuff. But it also makes you realize that there's people out there that don't know themselves without asking everybody else, which one am I? You know, what's the answer? Which one am I? My
It's
mom
literally like
is
the Office scene where Andy spends half the episode, am I gay? He's
Yeah.
asking everyone else, am I gay? I need to
Yeah.
know, am I gay? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people that are literally like that. They need other people to tell them, or
Yeah.
else they can't believe it from themselves.
My mom is that. Like, we've, like, as a family, we did like what color's your parachute and the colors test, you know, to see which color you are. She locks up, cannot take the test without it being a democratic process. It's wild. But it's a lot of fun. So there's a lot of games and a lot of card sets that are like this, but Do You Even Know Me was one. I bought it as gifts for people because it's so fun. So I bought it for my parents, and we bought it for my wife's parents and stuff, and kept a set, and it's a lot of fun. So with Do You Even Know Me, there's a game wrapped in it. So when you play it, if you get the answers right, you get a BFF card. And so the winner is the one with the most BFF cards because you know the family best. But man, it generates a lot of conversations. There's another card set that we bought for my parents as well, and it draws out questions that you wouldn't think of from your past. And I bought it intentionally for my parents and for my grandma, who's still alive. She's like 94, I want to say. And I've had this like kind of panic feeling that like there's this woman with this massive history that she just sits there in a rocking chair and nobody knows about, you know, and that this could come and go. And when it's gone, it's gone. And maybe she's got some journals. I don't even know. But I want to like, I've got my Namano recorder, which, you know, I can take over, and I just want to ask her a bunch of these questions and kind of get answers. I remember one time, it was crazy. The responses she gave, we were talking about grocery shopping. And she was like, oh, well, you guys have no idea how crazy things were in the past. And she goes, check this out. And she went and she got, it was this little metal, it would be like what in the 90s was really popular as like a day planner. But it was this little metal, about the size of a note card. And you could check off the fundamental groceries that you bought.
Oh yeah.
And then she also had these little cards where she would organize her day. She would wake up hours before my grandpa and put herself together. It smacked of chauvinism, but at the same time, like we were all like, oh my gosh, Grandma, how could you live under that? And she was like, you don't get it. It was like the way we wanted to live. It was the way I found order and peace. My job, my role was X. My husband's role was Y. It wasn't this, we weren't all burning our bras. This is how we found cohesion in society. And in a way, it kind of set me back. I was like, yeah, you know, we don't really do that anymore. You know, so it was really cool to see like just that little tiny story. And it was like there was so much there. It was matter of fact, but it was heavy, but it was humorous, you know. It was crazy.
Isn't it weird though that sometimes people are like, you live that way? You were forced to live that way. And they're like, no, I did it. That was my choice.
Yeah.
Well, how could that be? You must not have known any. And it's just like, then it turns into, well, you must have not been educated enough.
Yeah. How quickly we offend other people in the way that they're choosing to live.
No, I chose to do this. This was my choice. I preferred it this way. I liked how my life was. You just didn't even know it better. That's the only thing I can think of. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Now well, you always can look back on a generation and be like, man, you guys had it rough. And there's a bit of nodding yes to that. Like, yeah, no, there were restrictions and constrictions and, all the things that come with it. Like, I've on the Hugs podcast, I shared the story of where pants started for women, and it was born out of, it wasn't born out of convenience or comfort. It was born out of utility that caught on.
Mm-hmm.
Because Amelia Earhart decided, I don't want to fly on an airplane anymore in a dress. And she was like, and she went to work. So a lot of people don't know this. And if you haven't heard the Hugs podcast, which I think I took off the air, so I apologize about that.
You canceled yourself.
I canceled myself. Amelia Earhart not only was this maverick in aeronautics and travel, she also had a massive foothold in the fashion industry, to the point where she was buying whole factories to produce the garments that she was creating for women. And her innovations were based in utility. She started by saying, you know what, these parachutes, that material, the silk material is great. I'll bet we could do some stuff there. And so she started creating.
And then MC Hammer was born.
Exactly. If you think about it, that's kind of where MC Hammer was born. All the zippers, all the silk, But she innovated to the point where a whole generation adopted her, the way she pantsuits, the two-piece wear and all that. That's all Amelia Earhart.
Is she responsible for the shoulder pads too, or is that someone else? She
definitely had them. They were definitely in her wardrobe and the frocks that she created. This is crazy. So she created such an empire that she was buying entire factories, like I said, like whole chains of factories to produce it. That's how much of a demand there was for it. And then she innovated again when the Depression hit. People obviously had to tighten their, no pun intended, their belt straps. And so the purchasing of fashion went away. And so she, again, innovated in a way that we all know. She was like, you know what I should do? I'll just create patterns for all the stuff that I make in these factories. I'll trim down the factories to a minimal number, so because there are some people are still buying, but I'll just start selling the patterns. And so she created the first patterns of garments for sale.
My grandma used to have those, the little packets.
Oh yeah, and Joanne fabric, the
you'd open them up and they were literally tracings. You could literally take your little pencil and trace the outline. And
heck yeah,
yeah, my grandma had like bins full of those.
Oh, my mom, full like that was my upbringing, was going in and flipping through the McCall catalogs, looking for, and we would take, my mom made a lot of clothes for us. She's a wizard at being a seamstress. She got to the point where she was, and I remember the 90s this was popular, but she had a company, owned a company that just made drapes and interior, like valances and everything, fabric for rich people. And they would spend like $8,000 on curtains and stuff, and my mom just cranked this stuff out. But yeah, that was my upbringing. The other cool thing about the patterns was, and Amelia Earhart knew this, she's like, well, not everybody's the same size. So when you open up a pattern, if you've never seen one before, it's not just one trace. There's a trace and then there's dotted lines on the outside for sizing. So if you need to beef it up for a beefier frame,
for a beef
or
cake,
shrink it down. Yeah. And yeah, that was Amelia Earhart. She kicked all that off. I have no idea how. I think that was a tangent upon a tangent upon a tangent there.
That's how we roll on the Never Daily.
How you been?
Good. I went to Texas for the holiday, and you could probably hear that I'm sick because that's what happens every time I go to Texas. So if I cough in your ear a lot today, I'm sorry. I'm trying to mute most of them, but sometimes I'm not quick enough on the draw. But yeah, went to Texas. It was the day before we flew home. Is when I got sick. So usually I get sick at the beginning of the trip, but this time we did a little flip flop, and I got sick at the end of the trip. So
Yep.
it happens.
The universe has two rules, it seems. When we bring on new hosts, creators at 11:59, it always is accompanied with an injury.
Mm-hmm. Usually an ankle injury.
A leg or ankle injury, which scares me a little for bringing on new creators. It should be built into the contract. Forewarning, you're probably going to get legged, you know. And then you go into Texas. It's to the point where when you say you're going to go to Texas, usually I'll just text you and be like, okay, which illness, you know,
what am I going to
hope
get
you recover,
this time?
get well soon, you know.
Yeah.
It's a joke, but it's so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was like, I finally broke the curse this time, and then the day before we fly out, I'm like, I'm super congested and I don't feel good. And now it's been like a couple days and I still feel like garbage. But we're still here anyways.
How long have you been back?
Like a week.
Oh, yeah, so you got something heavy duty going on.
And it's like it started in my sinuses, went down to my throat, and then I'm pretty sure it hit my lungs. And I think we're on the way back up now. So we're feeling a little bit better, but we're not completely out of the woods yet. But yeah, I think whatever it was ended up in my lungs for a little bit. So that's why it's taken a little longer to get over it.
Yeah. I wanted to mention, I'm typically, I've thought a lot about past episodes, even back into 911, and I've thought about going back and editing stuff that just doesn't age well. Well, not doesn't age well, but is like, you know, timely then, but not now. It's like, I think about it, like Jack and I had full-blown conversations about COVID, like long conversations about COVID during COVID, because we were still doing the show. And I'm like, that's got to be boring for people now. Like, it's, you know, and I've thought about, you know, so I'm a little bit shy on the trigger for talking about current events and stuff, but one did just happen that reminded me of an event that I want to talk about really quick. So if you're not aware, we arrested and deported from his own country Nicolas Maduro, the president, dictator
of Venezuela. Where am I going to get all my drugs from now?
Yeah. So it reminded me, because we live in a weird time where I'd like to title this with, "You don't hate Maduro enough." But it's crazy because, like, we live in a really interesting time where a dictator is toppled. The streets are filled with Venezuelans that are overjoyed that their life could be soon back on track, right? And American media is in flames, enraged about a dictator being toppled.
We went from no kings to support your local dictator real quick.
I don't like
real quick.
And it reminds me, like 2024, I want to say, I said my banner for the year was, "You don't really believe that." Mm-hmm. And it's still holding true, because people, headline heads, they read a headline from their source of news, and then they're like, "Oh, we did it again." You know, Trump's not just ruining our country, he's over there ruining another country. And like, you don't mean that though, because the same media that was telling you about how bad Trump is because he stole a dictator and is holding his feet now to justice, and their country is rejoicing. The headlines come out like, all the people in Venezuela that you've seen video of that are rejoicing, it's all AI.
It's all AI. Or all the videos of all the people, like, how many, like, just go on Instagram or TikTok and it's going to be a ton of people who grew up in Venezuela saying this is a good thing. and everyone's like, "Oh no, you don't know what you're talking
You don't know
about."
what
The fact you lived there and suffered, and your family still lives there and are suffering, you don't know what you're talking about.
We have such egos that we believe that by reading our headline from a media here in America, in the U.S., that we know better because the headline told us than the people. Like this, you can't mimic this. There's Twitch streamers in Venezuela that are midstream in their video stream when they learn that Maduro's been toppled, and these Twitch streamers are crying. Like, anyway, you don't mean to be as mad as you are because the headline told you something. Because where were you when Obama was dropping bombs all over the place and killing? You don't care. You didn't care.
Well,
the media didn't tell you to care about it.
Obama had an embargo on Venezuela for a long time, and it really screwed him over.
I'm going to tell you,
we're going to forget that happened.
Exactly. Like we could very confidently say that the embargo, the restrictions on trade with Venezuela caused a lot of the inflation. So also they're sitting on the world's largest oil deposits in the world. Again, like I'm my brain's like, don't talk too much timely because, this has to stay fresh. This is fresh. They're not going, that oil's not going anywhere. You could listen to this, what we're saying in 10 years from now, and it's still true. They're sitting on over $17 trillion in oil. Okay, let me connect the dots there for you. They have the most oil in the world, yet they lived under a dictator and the country was in abject poverty, 1,000% inflation. That's the kind of inflation where if you walked down the street, I've talked about Mao before, if you walked down the street with a wheelbarrow full of money, you'd get mugged for the wheelbarrow. Okay. Like, let me put it in perspective for you. Alaska doesn't have as much oil as Venezuela does, yet Alaska gives cash to every citizen in Alaska every year as a
dividend.
A dividend for the oil production. Yeah. Like they're getting cash like these. And
it's thousands of dollars too.
Well, at least 1,000. Yeah. I know that, but it might be more now or less. I don't know. It probably goes up and down. But anyway, we're talking 17 trillion. So I wanted to share a little story and I'm titling it, "You Don't Hate Maduro Enough." So check this out. This is one that I've sat on for a long time. I've always tried to figure out how I could wedge it in, and I think it works now. So there were two men that were arrested in Haiti, which isn't in Venezuela for all of you that are geographically stunted. They were arrested in Haiti in November of 2015, and they were extradited to New York almost immediately. And they were convicted in late 2016 and sentenced in December of 2017, okay? So the defendants were Efrain Antonio Campo Flores and Frankie Francisco Flores de Freitas. Now okay. U.S. authorities said that they conspired to traffic hundreds of kilos of cocaine into the United States, in part to fund the ruling family's political power in Venezuela. Okay, so now here's a little homework for you. Go and Google.
I got Google.
Go to YouTube sometime and find news coverage of Freitas, and so it's Campo Flores and Flores de Freitas. If you look up YouTube news coverage from 2015, 16, 17, you'll find the same news agencies that are now railing against Trump, right? They will call this a massive victory. Okay. they'll call it a massive victory, and you can find them. You just go YouTube it. You'll find the news agencies that are like, "Yeah, we did this. Less drugs into America." Oddly enough, it was during a certain, presidency. Had a different. Then the script gets flipped, right? But okay, so they had trafficked hundreds of kilos of cocaine into the United States. On the 10th of November, 2015, so the DEA agents arrested Campo Flores and Flores de Freitas in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, during a sting in which they were arranging shipments of about 800 kilos of cocaine to the U.S. Okay, so within days, they were flown to New York and presented in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York on federal cocaine trafficking conspiracy charges.
And these aren't just random flunkies. These are the nephews
of
the First Lady.
Yeah, I was going to get there.
Oh.
So thanks for ruining the no, I'm just kidding. There's a reason why they were important. So the prosecutors alleged that there were meetings about the load that had already occurred in Venezuela the previous month. Now, it's important to know that Venezuela isn't a major drug producer, that Venezuela is a major drug trafficker, that the majority of the drugs that are produced, that are trafficked by Venezuela are produced in Colombia. And then they're brought to Venezuela, and then they're a vehicle for distribution throughout the world. About 20% of the cocaine that makes it into the United States right now is from Venezuela. And so it's important to kind of get the script straight on, okay, what's Venezuela's role here, right? So throughout 2016, defense lawyers challenged the admissibility of their post-arrest statements, arguing that they had not been properly advised of their rights and feared kidnapping. But Judge Paul Crotty ruled in October of 2016 that their waivers and recorded statements were voluntary. So on November 18th of 2016, after roughly 6 hours of jury deliberation, both men were found guilty of conspiring to import cocaine, with jurors citing the weight of recorded evidence over concerns about informant credibility. So the jurors were like, no, they confessed to this. 800 kilos, people. The jury was like, no, they're super guilty. Okay. So on the 14th of December, 2017, Judge Crotty sentenced each nephew to 216 months or 18 years in U.S. federal prison for conspiring to import cocaine, calling the scheme brazen and emphasizing the large quantity and political context. Okay, so just a sidebar really quick. They got caught trying to transport 800 kilos. We kind of lose sight of the fact often, I think, with this kind of thing, that this is when they got caught. They didn't just wake up that morning and were like, you know what, we should start something new. They'd been doing this, right? Hold on one second. Hi. Okay. My kids want to go to Snurks, the soda place. And I'm like, you haven't even eaten breakfast. Why would I take you to a soda place?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Okay, so, it's important to remember, this wasn't just a new thing. It wasn't, they didn't, just get hired to do this. They had been doing this, right? So they're convicted and sentenced. They were transferred into the Federal Bureau of Prison System and remained incarcerated for nearly 5 years, during which U.S. reporting continued to link their case to broader allegations of narco-corruption around the Maduro government. So the investigators continued to connect the dots between these two nephews and Maduro and his government, that it was funding it. You ready for the clincher? In late September of 2022, Biden reached a prisoner swap deal under which Venezuela freed 7 detained Americans, including 5 Citgo oil executives, a former U.S. Marine, and another American, in exchange for the narco nephews. So they got clemency, personally approved clemency by Biden for Campo Flores and Flores de Freitas, cutting short their 18-year sentence so they could just return to Venezuela. Officials described it as a difficult decision taken to secure the Americans' release. So I hate politics. Like, I can't stand it. But you don't hate Maduro enough, because he had his family involved in funding his dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to prison on his behalf. And then we're releasing them, because Venezuela is such a terrible place that they're arresting citizens, oil executives, and Marines. Like, you don't hate this government enough. To give you an idea of how bad it is, his rival in the presidential elections, she won the Nobel Peace Prize for her plan to recover Venezuela. Like, that's hard to do. Like, that the bottom has to be so low,
yeah,
that your plan to fix a country gives you the Nobel Peace Prize over all of the other people that are doing things in the world. Like, your plan to fix things and your efforts to fix things. I'm not just saying she just had a plan to do it, but she won the Nobel Peace Prize for this. Also, Maduro won the most recent presidential election amidst massive speculation of obviously fraud, claims of fraud and everything. You don't hate Maduro enough. So what you should start hating is media that tells you you should hate the guy that arrested a dictator. Like if you're mad about that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was wild. I was like, what have I heard? I know that there's a story about the narco nephews that, had some traction, and so that's it. So and that's one story. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure we could outrun every true crime podcast just by starting a podcast on Venezuela horrors. It's crazy, but again, it's all AI. So
it's all
the
AI.
videos of the happy people, it's AI.
All the people who are coming out and telling their stories of the horrible things that happened to them, it's all made up.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not real that some dude's grandma, who used to be a principal in Venezuela, she used to buy school supplies for the school herself because there wasn't enough money. And then auditors from the government showed up and go, hey, you bought 50 desks. There's only 48 desks on the property. And then they start torturing her. And she goes, they were broken and we threw them in the trash. It's a school. Stuff breaks. And they're like, no, you're hiding the desks. Like, this is real stuff that was happening. Like, over 2 school desks, people would show up to your house and be like, you're stealing from the government. Go to jail. And it's just like, why would I steal 2 desks? What?
That tells you, though. I mean, when you live in a dictatorship and the warmth of the collectivism is something that you're all supposed to share in and bask in. But the food vendor, there was a video just recently of a woman who she has she's a food vendor. She's got a cart behind her stacked high with her foods that she's selling. And she was saying that now she has considered staying in Venezuela, whereas just before Maduro was extradited to the United States and captured and toppled, she was planning as a food vendor. So like she's making $50 a day, she said, but couldn't afford her rent because rent was through the roof. Mm-hmm. And that she was going to follow the rest of her family who had left. 8 million people have fled Venezuela.
That's something like 20% of their population has fled.
Yeah, it's a crazy number. And you just don't hate that. You don't hate them enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wish, like, you should know which side to be on by who pops up their head and they're mad about this. North Korea was mad about this to the point where they were like, we're starting up our missiles again. We're launching some. And they launched some toward the borders of Japan. Obviously, Putin had something to say about it. Like dictators are mad about what happened to Maduro.
They're pissed because guess who's getting all the free oil?
Yeah, so
That's who was getting all the free oil. Like, people are like, you're taking oil. The government's just going to come in and steal all the oil. The U.S. government is. And it's just like, okay, why weren't you mad that China's been doing it for the last 20 years? Why aren't you mad that Russia's been doing it? Why aren't you mad that North Korea's been doing it? They've been stealing it and not paying anything for it. But here, me and Uncle Sam wants to come in and pay market value for it. Like, oh, no.
And to turn around and edify the Venezuelans through this, right? Now, I will say I'm really tired. In the same breath that all this has happened, I'm really tired of us justifying military force in another country in the name of oil. I'm so tired of it because it rarely has worked out that's a justifiable enough reason. Like, I'm super tired of it. I am. That oil is the impetus for doing this kind of thing. Like, if you look on a map and you look at how big Iraq or Iran is, you're like, what are we doing? Why are we there? What is this speck? What is this speck amidst a bunch of other specks of Islamist territories? Why do we care? Why are we there? Why are our brothers and sisters in arms dying? Why? I'm so tired of that. But by next year, if we can say, hey, there's been a modicum level of improvement in the Venezuelan populace because Maduro's out and this gives air for a better leader, okay, TBD, because we invented the Taliban. We're not great at that. We're great at going in and doing what we want to do in the name of oil, but we don't have an excellent track record of edifying. So the jury's out. So I'm not like a big fan of this. I'm just saying a dictator was toppled. We know this guy was a dictator. We might not know whether or not Muammar Gaddafi was completely terrible. We do know that he was aiming to do some really impressive things in his country that would have been innovative and could have been maybe changed the way that we view some technologies, especially in arid countries, and we got rid of him. So we don't have a great track record, but TBD. I don't know.
Everything, it's a wait and see, right? Just gotta wait and see what happens.
Yeah. I hope that through this, that a better leader can get put in place in Venezuela, that the people can see a reduction in their inflation, that people will move back, that maybe their prisons will stay locked up. That'd be nice, because we've confirmed now that Maduro unlocked the prisons and detention centers and said, you're free. You have to move out and you have to make your way to the United States. You're free, but you can't stay here. And we know that. We don't know who made it in here because we weren't tracking them until we catch them. But anyway,
oopsies.
That's my political rant for the day. The Narco Nephews. Look them up.
Amen.
I know I've been talking a lot, but I do have a couple.
That's the point of the show.
I know. I just feel bad because I talk so much. I do have a couple things. I do have a couple things from our friends that this is true. If you'd like to hear
I've missed them since I've been
I know.
gone.
And they miss us.
Yeah.
They just don't know it. They don't know it. The Missouri the Missouri Supreme Court will be deciding whether to approve an agreement to avoid a disciplinary hearing for a certain circuit court judge. So let's the math on the word math there. They will be deciding whether to approve an agreement to avoid a disciplinary hearing. So they're deciding whether or not to ignore a disciplinary hearing for this judge, right? Matthew Thornhill. If approved, he will serve a 6-month unpaid suspension. I know. Then complete the remaining 18 months of his term before resigning. So
we're just
you're not going to get paid for 6 months, and then you can go back to work. And then after 18 months, you got to resign. Like, I want that job. Like, how do I get a job like this? Like, why are these people so hard to get rid of? It's crazy. Anyway, court records point out multiple areas where Thornhill violated court rules during his 18-year career, including referencing his political affiliations during trials and asking people if they lived in, quote, Thornhill for Judge country. He also inappropriately intervened in a child custody case by giving a personal reference to another judge. Plus, what captured public attention was he did too much, he did too much Elvis Presley in the courtroom, including wearing a plastic Elvis wig while seated at the bench. Thornhill said he was trying to add levity at times when I thought it would help relax litigants. When he referenced the king in court, allowed witnesses to be sworn in using an Elvis song, or played Presley's music in the courtroom, quote, I regret any inconvenience that I may have caused the court, Thornhill said, quote, I can assure you that I will do my very best in the future to serve the people of the state of Missouri with honor and dignity. Thank you. Thank you very much. What? Like, why is it so hard to get rid of these people? Why? I get it. Like, the whole point, if people are scratching their head, the whole point of it being hard to get rid of a judge is that you want judges to judge fairly. And the best way to do that is remove the human corruption element, which is you remove their fear of being dethroned. And the assumption is that they will judge fairly because they don't have the threat of having their judgments brought back against them. And so that's why it's hard to get rid of a judge. And we're seeing that a lot. Like, we've got circuit court judges and not federal judges and all kinds of judges that are like, oh, wait, stop. You put Maduro back. Yeah. You do that. And we're like, who are you? I'm a circuit court judge in Issaquah, Washington. You put him back.
President. My handler told me to put him back. You listen to me.
Well, that's another thing about judges is they can do stuff like that. They can be like, hey, President, stop that. And then the president has to go, all right, can we file an appeal, please? The judge in Issaquah. How do you spell Issaquah again? The judge in Issaquah has said I can't do that. So could you file an appeal and could we do the thing? Because then you have to act within legal measures, right? Until the Supreme Court wakes and goes, huh? What's happening? I was sleeping. And then they got to make some judgments against judges. But the crazy thing about that is these judges are also protected. So a judge who has no jurisdiction to tell a president what to do can do that and then have their hands slapped and be like, no, you can't do it. Supreme Court wakes up and they're like, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that. I'm going back to bed. You can't do that. And then the judge is like, all right, fine. Next case. Yeah. Like, they're still in, They're still hired. You didn't get rid of a judge, because he was pro Maduro. If anything, it's not even legal to talk about. Like it's crazy.
Imagine
but I got
doing
another
something
judge.
illegal at your job, and then your boss is like, "Oh, you can't do that illegal thing," and you're like, "Okay, I'll try the next illegal thing."
Yeah.
And your boss is like,
Yeah.
"Cool, see you tomorrow when you try your next illegal thing."
Like imagine working for Chevy. Like you're a salesman for Chevy. And not only did you sneak some Fords on the lot and sell them somehow. Again, somehow, because that's how weird it is that these circuit court judges pop their head up on federal cases. Not only did you sell some Fords, but you prevented the sale of some Chevys.
Yeah.
You'd be fired in a heartbeat. But what happens is they're like, oh, wait, so, okay, hang on, you sold some Fords? Yeah, I did. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? Well, you know what we're going to do about it? We're going to let you keep the money.
Yeah.
And you know what? You prevented the sale of some Chevys. So you know what we're going to do? You're not getting commission on those not sales. That's what we're going to do. You're not going to get commission on the sales that never happened. That's what we're going to do. And then you know what? Get back out there and you sell right now. You get out there. You get out there and sell some more Chevys.
Yeah.
Like that's how stupid it is. I've got another judge story for you though.
Okay.
It was all caught on security camera video. An elderly man stomped into the steel rail tattoo shop in Irving. Oh wait, I've seen this one. Never mind. I've seen it. We've heard about it. I do this from time to time.
It happens.
Yeah. Let me see here. I think this one's been done. I've got one more for you. I'm gonna ruin this name. But Graziella Dallioglio of Borgo Virgilio in Mantua province, Italy.
Yes.
No wonder they take breaks during the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get really tired of all the vowels they have to say. Like that'll wear you out. Graziella Dallioglio of Borgo Virgilio of Mantua province, Italy was summoned to the local government office to get a new photo for her identity card. Hers was 10 years old, and it was needed so she could continue to get her pension. When the 85-year-old arrived hobbling on a cane, Mayor Francesco Apporti did notice her voice, quote, every so often dipped and sounded masculine, and her neck was thick. Now, these are quotes. I'm not.
Are you allowed to say that to women?
And her wrinkles were strange. But a clerk took the photo and sent her on her way, and then conveyed her suspicions to the mayor and compared the new photo with her old one. Police went to her house, and sure enough, they found her there, dead. For so long, her body had mummified. It was wrapped in a bed sheet, and it was stuffed into a sleeping bag and hidden away. Investigators say her unemployed son had cut his hair to look like his mother and donned a skirt, quote, lipstick and nail varnish, a necklace, and old-style earrings, Apporti said. She probably died of natural causes, but that will be established by the post-mortem. The son has not been named, pending charges of illegally concealing a body and benefit fraud. The mayor protected a vote. The clerk protected the taxpayers. I got a picture. I got a picture of this. I gotta share this with you.
Cheese and rice.
So the one on the left is her original, obviously, and the one on the right is Mr. Mom. Hello.
He went to the hardware store to get that paint that he used as makeup.
I'm a lady.
Yes, I'm a woman. How dare you ask?
Like you could Like, I know like I've been in the South. I've been in the South where I blame red hot dogs. This sounds funny, but I blame red hot dogs for the amount of body hair that crops up on some women in the South. There's something in the hot dogs. I'm convinced of it that it like affects puberty in the South. But this man has a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a Fu Manchu beard growing if he just give it another day or two. That's amazing, though. That's impressive. Anyway, so we don't know yet on that one because a judge has stuffed the results.
Yeah.
So TBD. Maybe I'll follow up on that one soon. Anyway, Chase, I'm really tired of talking, so I need you to
I'll try.
take over. Chase,
Yeah.
what did you bring today?
So today, it's I mean, if you're listening live, you know it's around the New Year's times. If you're not listening live, usually around New Year's, people make a lot of, goals they want to do. One of mine has been to read more. And in lieu of that, that's not the correct use of that word, but if you can read my name right now, it's semi-literate in parentheses, because I'm semi-literate, so I don't use words well. So I'm going to be speaking to our bibliophiles today, also known as people who enjoy having sex with books. I mean, people who enjoy reading books.
Okay, that's better.
I like reading. I know how to read. No matter what you read on the internet, I know how to read. And I am semi-literate, like that ass dork said I was. But I can read enough. So I'm going to give you some of my favorite book series. If you want to read, join me in my reading journey this year. I'm buying paperbacks, used ones, because it's like way cheaper. And so I've started buying paperbacks. I'm going to start reading those. And then just hopefully I'll be a better reader by the end of the year. So here are some of my favorite series if you would like to also read more books.
Okay.
So first one is called the Nightside series. It is a complete series. It's done. So don't worry about like, I don't want to read it unless it's done. I want to binge read the whole thing. Like some people are like that. So if you like binge reading and you want to do a whole series, this one's completely finished. You're good to go on it. So the series is focused on John Taylor, a private investigator based in the fictional Nightside, a dark, hidden netherworld of London in which the supernatural and science fiction, like supernatural, science fiction, and super technology all coexist.
Wow.
So it's dark, it's cynical, but it's like a dark comedy. And the books, they're kind of like, imagine like a classic pulp private investigator novel.
Okay.
But with like weird stuff, like really weird stuff mixed in.
Okay.
So it's like in between PG-13 and R-rated if you're reading. So like
Is it sort of that old timey, the investigator looking through the slats on his curtain on his window, and he's like, it was evening, and she came into my room.
Yeah,
and
it definitely has those vibes. Cool thing about the Nightside is it's always night. It's always like night, and the lightest it gets is like twilight.
So it's like Alaska.
Yeah, it's pretty much like Alaska.
The white nights.
So yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. It has really good characters. Sorry for people who like spicy books. It doesn't have graphic sex scenes in it. Sorry. But the characters are very creative. So like one of the main characters, recurring characters, her name is Shotgun Susie. So it's very like pulpy noir kind of stuff. Like everyone has nicknames. There's one of the other main characters, his name is Razorblade Eddie. And he's the god of the straight razor. So like that, like he makes up his own characters, but he uses like in the Nightside, like Christianity exists, but so does like paganism, and they're all real. Like that's the funny thing is like everything is real in the Nightside, if that makes sense. Like there's nothing that If you can imagine it, it exists in the night side.
Okay, so everything's manifest. So there's no fantasy whatsoever. If you thought it up or you've imagined it, it's real.
Then it probably exists in the night side.
Wow, that's
so you have like old gods fighting new gods. You have so like there's one dude one of the bad guys, his name is Count Video, and like he literally is like a walking VHS tape. There's like glitches and it's like everything's a little blurry. And he can like rewind stuff. Like it's just very interesting, very cool powers that people have.
What's the series called again?
It's called Welcome to the Night Side, or the Night Side series. And if you like graphic novels and comic books, the guy who wrote this series, that's what he does. He also does comic books. So he's done like some Batman stuff. Like he does stories and draws for comic books. The Night Side isn't his only series. He has a couple other series that are very, and I just like it because they're very refreshing. He's not like really reusing stuff, and when he does reuse stuff, he like puts his own twist on it. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So like one of the other reoccurring characters, his name is Zombie Boy, and he's a zombie, and he can't die, but he takes damage, but like so he literally holds himself together with duct tape and baling wire, like. He can't die, but he takes damage. So it's like if he gets his arm chopped off, he has to attach it somehow. So it's like there's just a lot of like cool stuff in it. Like, there's like religion in it. There's other stuff that's not real. Like it's just a lot of cool stuff. So if you really like, dark fantasy and stuff, you'll really like this series.
What was the main guy in it?
So the main guy is John Taylor.
Okay.
And so he's kind of like a anti-hero because he doesn't want to be a hero, but he also is like compelled to do what he sees as the right thing, if that makes sense. But he also doesn't do it because it's expected of him. Like it's just very different. Like
it I was looking it up to see if because that's the kind of thing when I read something like that, I'm like, why isn't this a movie yet?
Yeah.
Like it feels Donnie Darko-ish. Or not 300, but what's the one that was all like black and white, but also like very comic? Why? Oh man, why can't I think of it?
Are you talking about like there was Watchmen? It's kind of like Watchmen.
The Watchmen, yeah, kind of like the Watchmen. What's the one? Freaking Frodo was in it. He always had brown glasses on.
Oh, I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And that's why I like the powers that people have aren't like generic like laser vision or flight or extreme healing. Like it's not like X-Men kind of stuff. Like John Taylor, his whole thing is he just knows how to find stuff. Like that's his main power. He can do some magic, but his magic is just like weird. Like it doesn't make sense. But the way that the author incorporates it, you're like, oh, that's cool. So like one of John Taylor's powers is he can take bullets out of people's guns. Like that's it. He can just take the bullets out. Like just using like he can just think, oh, bullets are out, and like so there's some scenes where literally someone's going to shoot him and he literally pulls their bullets out of his pocket and just drops them on the ground.
Sin City.
Sin City.
That's the movie I was thinking of.
So like there's just like people have random power. Like I said, one guy, he's the god of the straight razor. Like he can cut anything. He just literally has 2 straight razors. Like those are his weapons. And so it's just like, there's just a lot of random weird powers. Like, and it's just cool.
I need to find time to get back into reading fiction because I get really practical and I'll start reading something that I'm really interested in reading. Like, for example, Canticle of Leibowitz, right?
Yeah.
You turned me onto that. And I'll turn it on and I'll be enjoying it. And then something in my brain is like, you really should be spending time watching a tutorial on how to improve your skills. So I'm like, I get too practical and or I'll get tempted to spend my time elsewhere. But fiction really is, it's a good outlet.
Yeah. And like this, there'll be a lot of things you like recognize, like Merlin's in there. But it's like not the Merlin from like, it's basically like he goes, yeah, like I'm Merlin, but all those stories written about me were to put me in a really good light.
Oh.
where Merlin's really kind of an asshole. And the only reason why he was good at all was because of King Arthur. So it's just like it's a new twist on the King Arthur. Like it's just he puts twists on so many things
I
and
like
weaves
it.
it through his whole storyline.
Okay.
And so it's really cool. It's really fun. If you like shoot 'em ups, there's shoot 'em up stuff in there. If you like fantasy and magic, there's that. Like it has a little bit of everything for everyone. If you like any sort of action, it doesn't matter what kind of action you like. Could be any kind, and you'll like the story. So it's
I like that kind of. I like it when the entire environment is modified by the author in a way, like it never goes dark. You know, it's everything, which in and of itself has its own kind of nuance as far as what that would mean for crime and
and so mix that in with good old fashioned private, like they're all mysteries, right? It's always like a PI. Someone did something, someone went missing, someone got murdered, and he has to figure out who did it in order to save the day.
I like that.
So that's a good one. Next one, next series, I can't remember. I thought it was done, and then my friend was like, "It's not done. There's like 10 other books." So I don't know if it's done or not. But there's 21 books in the series so far. So
if you say Louis L'Amour, well, I'm hanging up.
No, this is fantasy.
Just kidding.
And I've only read the first like 8 or 9 books, and I thought that was it. It's very. Think of Wheel of Time, but like rated R.
Okay.
Or NC-17.
Oh.
So that's. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So Angie in the background says her dad loved Louis L'Amour. My grandpa gave me all the Louis L'Amour books, leather bound.
I actually love Louis L'Amour.
So I have he bought each book one at a time. With his every time he got a paycheck, he'd go buy one of the Louis L'Amour leather books until he had all of them.
Yeah, my father-in-law has all the leather bound. Yeah, I'm like, that's impressive.
Yeah, they're heavy.
They are.
So Sword of Truth, yeah, it's like Wheel of Time, but like more NC-17 than Wheel of Time.
Okay.
There's a lot of crossover, and it's funny because like you have Sword of Truth fans don't like to admit that it's almost like a blatant ripoff of Wheel of Time, and it's not. But I mean, most fantasy stories are basically a ripoff of Lord of the Rings.
Is it Sword of Truth, or I don't think you said the title yet?
Yeah, so Sword of Truth is the title of the series, and it's by Terry Goodkind as the author. But it's very. It also has more like political things than like Wheel of Time. But yeah, there's a lot of graphic stuff in it. It's very graphic, for a fantasy series that, I've read before, and not in like a Twilighty way where it's just like, I love you, love, love, love. It's more like bad crap is like happening all the time.
Okay.
And, I'm just trying to be delicate about it, but like, yeah, it's very much like there are very evil people in the series who do really evil stuff, and it's very graphic about it. But like if you like Wheel of Time, but you're like, I want it to be more edgy, then read Sword of Truth.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just like very, very, not generic. I don't say generic fantasy, but it very much fits the fantasy mold of the, wizards and knights and, that kind of stuff.
Did he, maybe it's not him. Did he do Wasteland?
I don't know.
There's like a series. I'm trying to remember. There's an author that like is kind of known for, I don't know, skull crushing, gore.
Wasteland book says that's done by Robert D. Kaplan. So it's not. So this is Terry Goodkind. I actually discovered Terry Pratchett on accident while looking for Terry Goodkind.
Okay.
Because I couldn't remember who the author was. And I was like, oh, fantasy. Terry. That's all I could remember. So it gave me Terry Pratchett, which is pretty funny if you've read any Terry Pratchett books. It's like comedy fantasy. It's like satirical fantasy. But yeah, this is not that. This is very much, if you like just hardcore fantasy, literal dragons and wizards and stuff, this is really good. Cool. There's cool characters, very much characters that you learn to love. Like the character progression is really good.
Interesting too. you said that there's 21 books. In the middle of writing them, because it looks like they started in the early 90s, like 94.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2001, it looks like he cranked out a prequel or
Yeah.
companion book, Dead of Bones, and then the first Confessor, The Legend of Magda Sirus in 2012. So he's mixed in a lot of just like, you know, the normal pathway of the as books take when an author does that, but then he'll throw in some prequels.
Yeah, and so it's a cool series. Like you brought up the Confessors, like they're basically their own law. Like they're kind of like the Supreme Court of the world, where they're more like the Judge Dredd version,
Okay.
where it's like we will put you on trial, we will be the ones who do the investigating, we will also be the ones who do the killing if that is necessary. So yeah, there's just a lot of like different factions, good wizards, bad wizards, a lot of just like if you're in the high fantasy, I would definitely say read Sword of Truth series.
Looks like you should also, it's one of those book series where you can and maybe should read them in a certain order.
Yeah, there's definitely a chronological order to read them in.
You can find, I just pulled up a Wikipedia on which order they should be read in.
And, so yeah, if you like fantasy, that's a good one. And people are going to be like, you're a one-trick pony. My next series, also fantasy, but imagine...
A lot of people are going to question the fact that I could get out of a certain genre. Well,
yeah.
You know what? In the next fantasies.
But some of these fantasy series, I like them because they're like fantasy, not adjacent, but I just like the twist they put on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So this one, the next one is The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. Do not watch the TV series. It is horrible.
Oh, okay.
And they made one season, it got canceled, and it got canceled because they didn't follow the book at all.
Oh, really?
It's one of those. It's more PG-13-y. It does have sex and stuff, but it's not graphic or overly descriptive. It blends magic and fantasy with modern day stuff. So it takes place, imagine like a fantasy story taking place in modern times in Chicago. So he's the only wizard in the Yellow Pages. Like that's kind of the whole thing. Like he actually is like, I'm a wizard and I have real magic, but like nobody believes him. They're just like, you're not a real wizard, but he is. That's the funny thing is he actually is a legitimate wizard who does real magic. And so like it has like vampires, it has fairies, and like if you want to learn about like fairy, like the Fae, this is a good book. Yeah. And like the winter court, the summer court, and like all this stuff. Bigfoot's in, like every supernatural thing that you can think of is in this series at least some point, but I just like the twist. There's like 4 different kinds of vampires. There's like the sex vampires, then there's like the generic vampires, then there's like zombie vampire, and they're all fighting against each other and stuff. Like it's just there's a lot of politics going on. There's like one dude who like makes his own faction because that's how everything's broken up in the magical side, and he doesn't have any magic. He's just literally a Chicago gangster, like who's just like ruthless. And so like there's just a lot of cool stuff in it. Like some of his buddies are werewolves that help him out with stuff. A lot of cool characters. There's a dude there. One of his best friends is a Knight of the Cross, like a legitimate like Knight of the Cross who fights for God and Jesus and stuff. And he's constantly trying to like convert his wizard friend to Christianity. Like there's just a lot of like it's just like a cool kind of down to earth, like this is how a fantasy series would play out in modern times.
Cool.
So yeah, it's not done, but there are 17 books, so feel free to start.
Yeah, you're not going to reach the end.
No,
you might even reach the end, and the 18 is out.
Yeah, and so yeah, if you like anything like modern day, kind of like if you like supernatural, you'd like the Dresden Files.
Okay,
and then one that goes kind of hand in hand with that is Monster Hunter International. This is I think you would like this a lot. So the whole premise is this guy is attacked by a werewolf and he fights it off and survives, and then all of a sudden this group shows up called Monster Hunter International that offers him a job. And so it's like
it's sort of like what's the independent? No, not Independence. What's the one where they can will flash you and you lose your
Men in Black.
Men in Black. Kind of like a Men
Yeah.
in Black kind of thing.
Kind of like that. So Monster Hunter International, they're an independent monster hunting company who works with the United States government and takes on contracts to kill supernatural monsters.
Okay.
So basically the guy who wrote it, he's like super into 3-gun. A lot of it's like, imagine like John Wick, but with monsters.
Okay. Oh,
So
fun.
it's very,
Okay.
but it's because he knows a lot about guns and he's a gun collector. It's very like the action sequences are very true to, like you're like, oh, this actually reads like it would play out in real life.
Okay.
Like none of this like you shoot 28 rounds out of your 6-shot revolver
right.
kind of
Everything's
stuff.
kind of realistic.
So he like will have like actual mag counts. You know, like when you're out of ammo, you're out of ammo, kind of thing. Like, so it's like, oh, he'll be like, oh, he only has 6 mags. Once there's 6 mags are gone, the main character has to figure out something else to do now that he's out of ammo, like kind of stuff. And so like, it's really like, I just really like it a lot. Larry Correia is the author of Monster Hunter International. He also writes high fantasy, which is really good. He writes a lot of really good stuff. So yeah, it's a really good Monster Hunter International, really good books series. Another one that I really like is The Black Company. This kind of goes with everyone's like refinding of like 1980s stuff, really cool with Stranger Things and stuff. This is like literally this book when they first started coming out, it uses the same font that like Stranger Things uses.
Oh.
That's how you know it's legit because they used it back in the day. Like it's that same, but it's fantasy again, but it's called The Black Company. It's written by Glenn Cook, and it combines elements of epic fantasy as it follows an elite mercenary unit, the Black Company, through 40 years of its 400-year history as they take on the forces of Demoness Kina, whose influences stretch across the 16 worlds. So it's very much like 1980s high fantasy. Yeah, it's about just a mercenary company, and it's constantly changing. They're constantly rotating people out. People are dying. Like, you know, I mean, you'll be like, oh, main character.
To love a character and then they kill him
and then
off.
they die. Yeah. It's one of those because it follows the whole company. And sometimes it'll be like, oh, you'll have a story that took place before the current cast of people. So they're constantly rotating out because they're mercenaries. And guess what? Sometimes you die on a job. And so, yeah, it's just really cool. It's very much like when you read it, you're just like this. Like, imagine reading like an adult version of like Labyrinth. Like, it has that same feeling of like the never ending story, Labyrinth, but imagine like an adult version of that. Like, it has that same kind of like dreamy, ethereal quality where it's like, oh, this is not real. Like, I don't know. It's just really, it just feels like the 80s. Like, that kind of, you know what I mean? It's hard to describe that, but it just has that feeling of just like 80s high fantasy. It's just really good.
Okay.
Another one, we'll move on a little. I have a couple more and then we'll get to what you brought. This one is, it's called the Agent Pendergast series by Lincoln Child. So imagine like Dirk Pitt.
Yeah.
But like posh.
NC-17.
No. So Pendergast, basically the whole backstory is he was raised as like a Southern gentleman, very wealthy family, like their house was like an old plantation. He had tutors and he's a genius.
Okay.
But he's also independently wealthy, but he's an FBI agent and he works for $1 a year. That's his salary.
Oh.
He just does it because he likes to do that kind of stuff.
He's in for the game.
Yeah.
Who's the author?
So it's Lincoln Child.
Okay.
So there's little teases of supernatural in some of the books. But most of the books are kind of like in the Dirk Pitt thing where they kind of follow an arc, but they're also standalone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so he's just a very like prim and proper gentleman, like old worldly, follows like, like Southern, follows all the rules and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of books, like there's a ton of them. But it's just a cool story. They're entertaining.
Do you have to read them in order?
You should, but you don't have to.
So you can start with Relic.
Yeah, Relic. And that's the thing is Relic. So there's a movie, Relic. They made a movie about this, and they left out the main character, who is Agent Pendergast.
Interesting.
Like, that's where that was his first book. So he's not the main character, but he's literally one of the main characters. And that's, from that book is where you get the whole series, if that makes sense. So the author was like, oh, I really like this character I made. I'm going to dive into his history.
Now, is Relic the movie, is that the one with the chick that, like, kills a bunch of people, like some, like, alien kind of chick?
It's like, they find a, like,
museum. It's like Night at the Museum Murder Edition.
Yeah, so, like,
right?
in the book, they find, like, what do you call that? Like a magical totem.
Yeah.
Like, and like, so there's these creatures that follow it, and then they end up killing a bunch of people. But like, that's
so
that
Hellraiser.
Yeah. But that book is like definitely different than the rest of the Pendergast books, if that makes sense.
Except for book 2 is Reliquary.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, that's like, the Relic is kind of what introduces you to Pendergast, and then you kind of dive into his story afterwards.
How do they do that? How can you have a whole book that turns into a movie and they take out the main character? Like, I want to find commentary from the author. It's like, I missed a phone call.
But yeah, he's supposed to be like one of the main protagonists.
Oh, so
who comes in, like, he's the FBI agent assigned to the case, right? And so I watched the movie because, like, oh, I like the Pendergast books. I watched the movie. I'm like, I get to the end of the movie. I'm like, where the hell was Pendergast?
Could you just imagine? Because this happens. It happens where if you look into authors at all, and when they make a movie out of the book, any author will tell you, you have some creative freedoms, but once you sell the movie rights, they'll call you up and be like, hey, like, could you imagine the meeting where it's like, I'm reading through this script and I got an idea. What if that'd be kind of like saying, what if we just took George Washington out of, like, the whole, like, American founding father story? And everybody's like, you know what? I think you're onto something.
That's kind of how this ended up. It's the weirdest thing. So yeah, a lot of books in this series. There's like 30 plus books.
Interesting.
It's a good like time killer if you're just like mowing the lawn or whatever. Like, it'll keep you engaged. Another series that's kind of similar, but I like it a little bit more, is called the Repairman Jack series by F. Paul Wilson.
The Repairman Jack series.
Yeah. So this is like, if you like Clive Cussler books, like Dirk Pitt stuff, you'll really like this. This is a weird series because there are standalone novels, and then there is like an overarching story. So you do want to read it in order, but you don't have to, but it's better if you do. And since you have the internet, you might as well read them in order because it will tell you how to read the series. So there are some standalone novels that have nothing to do with the main overarching story. There's a bigger story that's happening. Like, it's just basically, this guy is a urban mercenary is what he calls himself. So he kind of lives a life where he's not on, like, he doesn't have a real ID. Nobody knows his real name. He keeps his money in, like, gold coins. But what he does is he's a fixer. So people, like, it's kind of like, when the law fails, there's only one man you can turn to. And he helps people, like, get out of weird situations.
Okay.
And so it's like, and some of them are really small, and some of them, like, it's like, oh, my landlord is trying to kick me out because he wants to sell the building to a blah, blah, blah. I need help, but I don't have money, and he's not doing anything illegal. So then this guy kind of helps out. Okay. So he's like an urban mercenary. You can hire, he doesn't like kill people, but he fixes your problems. Or like if you made a gangster angry who's then giving you crap, you can go to Repairman Jack and he'll get the dude off your back, kind of a thing.
Okay. He's reluctant to help you, but
yeah. But he does it for money. Like, that's the thing. He's like, yeah, I'll do anything for money.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he also has like he's like, but I won't do, like, he'll do illegal stuff, but not to hurt good people. Does that make sense?
Sure. He's a Lincoln lawyer.
Yeah. He's kind of like, he'll do bad stuff, but against bad people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's just a cool series. So he's, so here's like the Wikipedia, revolves around the adventures of a Manhattan-based urban mercenary who calls himself Repairman Jack. Jack is a man with no last name or legal status who makes living his living fixing situations for people who cannot find help elsewhere. His work has not only led him into violent encounters with criminal underworld, but also in the midst of a behind-the-scenes cosmic battle for Earth between two supernatural forces. So basically, in this series, like, there's the good guy and the bad guy. Like, you can say that, the devil and God or whatever, and they're fighting for control of Earth. But that's like where it gets weird, because there's the standalones that aren't not supernatural at all, but then there's the overarching where it's a little supernaturally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, like, no matter what you like, it's just like, if you just like action adventure books, Clive Cussler books, you'll love this. Last one we're going to do is Sandman Slim. This one is more like NC-17 again. It's a good series. It's finished. Like, it's a completed series. It's about a guy who's betrayed by his friends and sent to hell, literally sent to hell. And then he lives in hell for a while, and then he comes back, and then it's his revenge tour.
Kind of like Keanu Reeves in Constantine.
Kinda, yeah. So, like, he can do, like, weird, like, magic and stuff, and there's, like, you meet the devil, and, you find out that the devil's not really a bad guy. Like, it's one of those, like, it's just all circumstance. Like, it's just, but yeah, it's really good. NC-17, cool, different, twist on magic and the action genre. Just about a guy who goes to hell, survives, and comes back for his revenge tour on the people who sent him there.
Huh.
So it's very punk, very, anarchisty vibes. If you like that kind of stuff, then yeah, I'd say, Sandman Slim by Richard Kadrey. It's a good series.
Well, cool.
So now that I've bored everyone with my books knowledges, what did you bring?
Okay, well, I motivated by your book list, I thought I'd kick things off by giving you some movies to watch that I've soaked in. Some okay, so I'll admit I am a weird movie fan. Like, I watched Eraserhead and was like, man, this is wild. And like, I'd watch it again. It's the weirdest thing you've ever watched, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched Mad God and I was like, this is wild. But I love the fact that it took him decades to make it, because it's stop motion. Like, I love movies for more than just one, like, myopic reason, So sometimes my list gets a little weird, but if you're into weird, come along. I'll start off with something where I kind of can't believe I'm saying it. I feel like I'm like, no, you should give Britney Spears albums a chance. Like, it feels kind of like that. But if you haven't watched Wicked and Wicked for Good, which is the new one, and you can ignore how they act in interviews, because it's terrible the way they act in interviews. And I follow some psychologists who have had a heyday with, like, the body language of them both in interviews, like,
or the constant voice changes where she forgets that she's not using her I'm on TV voice. Yes,
the voice changes, and Cynthia Erivo, like, so there's one of the psychologists, body language experts I follow. He's like, watch this. So when Ariana Grande starts talking about, gets into a conversation, something about their dynamic, their relationship dynamic between her and Cynthia Erivo, and she posits that, there's like a friendship there or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia Erivo will, like, start adjusting Ariana Grande's necklace, or like grab her hand and start, like, mobbing her body. And he's like, this is an indicator of a control scenario where the person that's trying to control isn't completely on board with the limitations put forth by the other. So Ariana Grande is like, yeah, we're good friends. And Cynthia Erivo's like, we're more than that. Let me fix your necklace. And it's weird. But if you can overlook that, the Wicked movies are really good. I mean, there's a reason why they've been on Broadway forever. It's a real interesting spin on the Wizard of Oz tale.
Mhm.
The good person in the whole thing is actually the Wicked Witch, you know. It's worth it. And you know, they both movies make my wife and daughters cry
Mhm.
excessively, but they're good. They're good. I was like, okay, I gotta sit through this. It's good. They're good. I'd recommend it, especially if you like Wizard of Oz and you know you're open to some divergence. Now, I will say that there are parts of it that are like steeped in the Bay Area. It feels like all of the cast, everyone feels like they're from the Bay Area. Like it just feels like the whole dance company and all the like secondary actors, like they all got hired straight out of like Bay Area coffee shops. It's fun. Like it didn't veer too far from Hollywood, you know, when it comes to that. If you're looking for little people, forget it. They are all normal sized people. Again, I'm not quite sure how you could be in the Bay Area and overlook that, but Snow White did it too. So what are you going to do?
Mhm.
Okay, so moving on. There's a comedy that is so worth watching called Fackham Hall. Oh my gosh!
I thought you were going to say Schindler's List.
A new porter forms an odd bond with the youngest daughter of a well-known UK family. So it's kind of like Downton Abbey, but funny, but kind of funny that moves on without you. So, for example, there's a wedding scene, right? And
Mhm.
the
Well, it has Jimmy Carr in it, so it's going to be funny.
totally like but it's got people in it that you wouldn't put in a humorous movie. Like one of the main guys from maybe that is Jim. No, it's not Jimmy Carr. I was going to say one of the main actors in it's good. So there's one scene, like just to give you an example of how like the humor walks away whether you're on board, whether you caught it or not. There's the priest who's marrying these two people, and he goes, "Welcome everyone today," and then he says, "Let us pray that you never marry." No, let us pray you never marry. And then he pauses and he goes, "Let us pray you never marry." And so, but it doesn't miss a beat. So if you're not like plugged in, you're gonna like there's all this hidden humor, and it's so funny. It's a good lark.
So I'm taking it's like British dry humor then.
It is. It's the epitome of British dry humor. So if you like Monty Python, if you like Little Britain, I'd go as far as to say if you like the young ones, you're in for a treat.
When we were in Texas, I showed an episode of Mr. Bean to my niece and nephew.
Yeah.
And that's all they wanted to watch for like the next like week is just Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean. And I was just like, I do that to my brother. I'm just like, how can I annoy him through his children?
Yeah.
This time it was Mr. Bean on repeat for like a week.
Now I have an animation next on board. Came out in 2025. It's a Korean animation, so you're going to be stuck with subtitles. You can find a dubbed version of it. You're okay with the dubbed version in this case because it's animation, so it's not quite as weird as you'd think. But I like watching it in the original language with subtitles. But this one's called Exorcism Chronicles: The Beginning. So it feels a little Japanimation. This one does, but it's 3D animated. But all the characters are textured as if they're painted. So there's a very painterly feeling to it. There's a lot of light. It's 3D, so you get all the attributes of a 3D rendered film, but then there's this kind of very highly textured element to everything, and the animation and the characters and everything. It's very, very good. So the description of it is when a demonic uprising threatens to end the world as they know it. A monk and an excommunicated priest join forces to protect a powerful young boy and the next generation of magic. So it's a good watch. It keeps you engaged. The storyline is solid. It's not just like, Japanimation anime action for action's sake. I liked it. I really liked it. Maybe falls into a movie where I like it for all the other aspects of the movie as opposed to like the storyline and everything. I love 3D animation. I love a well animated movie. I can appreciate it just for that. But anyways,
it's kind of like how I feel about even if the new Dunes movies had sucked, they still would have been awesome.
Yep.
Like because of how they were shot and like the attention to the set and the detail and everything. Like sometimes you just watch stuff because it's like beautiful just to look at.
Exactly. Now, this next one I can't recommend enough. And I have to recommend two prior to this movie. One, it stands alone and probably stands alone as one of the most requested movies for a sequel in moviedom. And it's gone under a lot of people's radar. If you haven't watched it, you got to watch Troll Hunter. Sounds crazy, but I promise you that you can't prejudge this movie. It's not American.
Mm-hmm.
It's I want to say it's Norwegian. I'll just draw a circle and say it's Norway. It's one of those countries.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be in subtitles again, but Troll Hunter stands alone. The closest that they've gotten to a sequel is by another director who created Troll. Now, it's not the same as Troll Hunter, but the vibes are all there. So you watch Troll Hunter and then you sit there longingly staring at Reddit like the rest of us for a sequel to come aboard for Troll Hunter. While you're waiting, which you may be waiting for the rest of your life, you watch Troll. And again, it's subtitles, it's Nordic, it's the whole thing. So good though. And again, it's big trolls. It's not like little trolls that are running through the forest, like horror trolls that like eat your face.
Mm-hmm.
These are like trolls that are the side of a mountain and then wake up for XYZ reasons and walk through a valley kind of trolls. These are big, giant trolls that just go undetected until certain things happen. And then that brings me to the 2025 release of Troll 2, which doesn't disappoint. Totally worth watching. I can't describe it enough because I feel like I'd be explaining like a religion that everybody should join, and everybody's like, yeah, thanks. Oh, that's great. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just have to jump in. If you jump in, you'll watch it all, and then you'll be like, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, you won't believe me. Troll Hunter.
That's how I tell people about Brigsby Bear too. Don't look it up.
Oh, totally.
Don't do anything. Just watch the frickin' movie. Like, don't even read the description. Just go in, hit play.
Yep. You need to tell people if you've watched Napoleon Dynamite and you wish Napoleon Dynamite had a baby with a sci-fi flick, or like a rom-com, then watch Brigsby Bear. If you want to see Napoleon Dynamite have a baby with a sci-fi movie, you go watch Gentlemen Broncos. And you leave it at that because there's only so many people that are going to buy your religion into that. And then once they watch it, they're like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me in.
Thank you for doing that. I am not disappointed.
I'm in the cult. Yeah. And then again, you'll sit at Reddit waiting forever for the announcement that they've made another one that's in the same kind of vein. Next on the list, Black Phone 2. This one almost goes without saying. If you haven't watched Black Phone, where have you been? hang up on this podcast right now and go watch it. Black Phone 2 won't disappoint. Not a lot to say there. It's you'll get it. It's so good. I'm gonna, as I do once a year, I watched it. I might have recommended this before, but if you've never watched the 1922 version, the Nosferatu, the original, it's worth watching because it is the foundation for Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
No, for Dracula. Sorry, Dracula.
It's the foundation for any horror movie.
Really, yeah. Horror movie, vampire movie. It's the OG.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a silent movie, so you're doing some reading, but
And there's lots of organ music playing.
and the thing I love about a silent movie is that era could not lean on any, except for, like you said, unless some vibey music set the tone, the whole thing had to be built on the visual that the story was telling you, which is almost impossible these days. The closest you'd get it would be maybe A24, but they stretch a scene out too long, it sometimes in my mind. So Nosferatu, 1922. Check it out. Okay, and then we move on to, let me find it. Okay. If you're in the movie, I don't know. If you partake of mushrooms or a psychedelic of some sort, or you're into movies where you're like, why was this one ever made? Wait, I can tell you. I can't ever remember the name of it. What's the movie with the terrible director that's the actor, and he's in and he's like, oh, hello, Amanda.
The Room.
The Room. Okay. If you like The Room, you got to watch New York Ninja and New York Ninja 2. You can't, and you can watch either one. There really is you don't have to watch them in sequential order, but New York Ninja and New York Ninja 2, if you liked The Room, you got to watch those two. They got to be on the list. There's no other way to put it.
I did also show my niece and nephew another movie, Surf Ninjas.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking suck. It's still good. You go back and watch it and you go, wait, every time I watch, I'm like, wait, Leslie Nielsen was in that movie as the bad guy?
Yep.
Wait, Rob Schneider was in that movie? What the heck?
It's crazy. Okay, I've been watching a lot of part 2s. I think 2025, there were a lot of part 2s that came out, but I was glad about it, I guess. If you've never watched Nobody, then you got to watch Nobody. It's a sleeper action film. And if you're thinking, I can't think of a less tough guy to put in a movie than Saul Goodman, the actor that plays Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
Then you're in for a treat because Bob Odenkirk slays it. So you got to watch Nobody. And then in 2025, Nobody 2 came out, which kind of flew under the radar. Totally worth it. If you've watched the John Wick series, next recommendation, if you watch the John Wick series or you're not caught up, catch up, watch the latest John Wick, and then watch Ballerina, which came out in 2025. It's from the same director. So maker, creator, from the world of John Wick. So John Wick's in it, but Ballerina, gotta watch it. Okay. Now we kind of get into just a couple movies that aren't on anybody's radar because we're getting used to Korean film and Korean TV, like oh my gosh, why can't I think of the Korean TV series where everybody dies? The Game. Why can't I hate it when I do this. I forget.
I don't watch a lot of subtitle stuff because my wife hates it.
Somebody's got to rescue me in the back door. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we've gotten used to it, and as you can tell, it's the top of Not K-pop Demon Hunters, but yeah, definitely K-pop Demon Hunters. It's in the vein of like,
All of Us Are Dead?
no, but that's amazing. All of Us Are Dead is amazing, but it's the TV show that's like more popular. Why can't? Oh my gosh, I can't think of. I gotta Google it. Oh, I am so mad at myself right now. It's gonna be the first one that pops up when Squid Game. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Squid Game. So, the world got introduced to, accepted the fact that Koreans have some amazing TV series with Squid Game. Now, we haven't quite made it to China as far as like mainstream for us. Like, there aren't a lot of Chinese movies or TV shows that were like, oh, wow, yeah, that dominated the US box office. But there are two. One came out in 2019 and the other came out in 2025. You've got Neja. These are animations. But just to give you an idea of how well these did in the box office. So you got Zootopia 2, which slated, which is numero uno in the box office, and actually beat the latest Avatar, right?
Not hard
in the
to do.
box office. So Zootopia 2, global gross of 1.58 billion with a B. Avatar came in behind that with 1.5 billion. Maybe 1.7, depending on how you read the numbers. Neja did billions, B and a multiple. And then 2025, Neja 2 came out and did 2.19 billion in global box office. They're worth watching. They're fun. If you like, again, the best way to put it is it's anime. It's like if Disney did anime, is the way Neja 2 especially plays out. But
Okay.
if you wanna see some good animation, that kind of harkens back to that. Man, how long did this take? China's got a thing. If you ever watched the Olympics when China was hosting it, you're like, they just throw bodies at something and they're like, we're going to make this ridiculous. And they throw so many bodies at like a dance or some performance that you're like, no one ever thought that you could put that many bodies in sync to do something. And they follow suit with animation. They're like, how crazy of an animation could we make? How many cells of animation, how many frames of animation would it take to make this? And they're like, well, we'll just add more animators. So Neja 2, totally worth watching. And I feel like that's probably where I'll end it for my recommendations. I've mentioned the book Project Hail Mary, totally worth reading, listening to. And then the upcoming movie Project Hail Mary is coming out, has Ryan Gosling in it. It's great. Read the book, listen to the book, get ready, because things are going to get great. One more. I'm sharing my screen on this one. Let me do this, and I got to crop in on it. Okay, now this definitely falls in the weird category. But if you're looking for a movie, if you're like, man, I wish I could watch a super weird movie that has a ton of gore, but what I want something, it's like if Fraggle Rock had a baby with humans. So you want human puppets that are human-sized and but are eerily human-like. You're going to want to watch the movie
The Politicians. Oh.
Abruptio. 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 Let me just share my screen on this one. Here is what the characters, all of the characters in it are.
Oh, jeez.
They are all puppets, but depending on the scene, how they're cutting the scene, it's either an entire like headpiece that a human actor is wearing over it, And when they talk, their mouths move like you would imagine, like if you had your hand inside of a puppet and moved the puppet mouth. They almost look human, but they look more like Macy's mannequins.
Yeah.
But it's all soft, all the way down to like their legs and their hands are shrouded in a puppet. So it's not just a human hand, it's a human hand inside of a human hand puppet. So it just looks creepy. And this guy that you're looking at here, he is the main character, and the world has been taken over by, I won't give too much away, but basically everybody that has been, it's been taken over by, and everybody's been chipped. And your day is guided by the overlords who tell you what you're going to do, who you're going to go kill. If you don't kill them, the chip explodes and you die. So Abruptio is this weird, like, if again, maybe if you're into, psilocybin or, some kind of a exotic mental drug, you'll check out Abruptio, and then you'll hate me for recommending it.
Here's a fun little tie-in. So I was
Okay.
just looking at the cast of Abruptio, and you have Jordan Peele,
Yeah.
and Robert Englund,
Yep.
Christopher McDonald. Here's the fun one. So James Marsters, he reads all of the Dresden Files audiobooks.
Really?
Yeah. There was one where he couldn't read it.
James Marston?
James
Marston?
Marsters.
Marsters?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he got like his break was in like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm looking him up. Oh, James Marsters. I was looking up James Marston. Okay. Yeah.
But so he does all of the, because the Dresden Files is written in first person, from the point of the wizard, right?
Okay.
And so he does all of the audiobooks as James Marsters. He couldn't do one because he had a prior scheduling thing and he couldn't narrate it. So they brought in someone else. Like 3 years later, they brought him back to redo the audiobook because that's how much that's how much of a good of a job he does.
Yeah.
That the fans were just like, I think they even like a bunch of people like even crowdsourced it to pay for it. Cause like, no, we want it that badly. Like we'll pay for it ourselves if we have to. We need him to do the voiceover. So if you're listening to the audiobooks, make sure you don't get the weird one where it's like the random other dude that they had to pull in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just, I just thought that was funny that he's in that movie. So
he shows up at a lot of Comic-Con or like horror conventions, stuff like that, because of Buffy. Yeah, that's the thing, is like you won't watch Abruptio for the cast of actors because you don't know.
you don't know. Yeah.
None of them are nobody's in the movie. They're all under the movie.
Yeah, and ironically, like there's a bunch of people you would recognize too if you could see them.
Yeah. If you close your eyes and listen, you can pick out voices, and you're like, oh, okay. That's, yeah, okay. Jordan Peele. A couple people asked where they could even watch it. It's currently in circulation through those like free movie channels like Tubi, Pluto TV. You can get it through the Roku channel, Amazon Prime. I think you can watch it on Prime without paying. Did
Sid Haig just play himself though without a costume?
No,
because he already looks like a Muppet.
Yes, you'd think, but nope. Everyone was a mannequin. You can rent it on YouTube TV. No, YouTube TV. You can watch it. Google Play Movies, rent it. Apple TV, rent it. Fandango, rent it. Rent it on regular YouTube. Anyway, I don't know why. It's like I almost feel a little sheepish about recommending it because it is weird. It's super weird. But a lot of big actors came out to play in it, and so if that's your thing, I mean, I watched it and I was like, how do I get that time back? But it was also, it was like an eye salad. It was like you couldn't. It was an eye buffet. It was like, what am I watching? It was so weird.
Why am I watching?
So weird. Yeah.
But I have an existential crisis. Watch this movie.
Yeah. That's actually not what I brought today. So if you're still one of the 14 people sitting in the back door and you're like, geez, when does this show end? It's not ending yet. I brought something. I brung it. So if you're ready, Chase, I'll tell you what I brought today.
I'm ready. I'm just answering a question, but I'm also listening.
Okay. So you picture this. You're living in the year 8500. Oh, no, not the year 85. You're back 8,500 years ago. Okay, you're living in a little settlement near the Yellow River. You don't have Spotify. There's no Bluetooth. Your AirPods haven't been invented for 8,500 years yet. And there's actually no written language telling you where to do things like, I don't know, put the holes on your flute.
Are you trying to make me depressed?
And yet, Chase, some Neolithic genius sits down, he sharpens a crane's leg bone, he pokes some holes in it with the precision of someone assembling IKEA furniture, and accidentally invents music.
Oops.
So, welcome to Jiahu, which almost sounds like I'm being racist somehow, but Jiahu, one of the wildest archaeological sites in Henan province, China. It was occupied roughly 7,000 to 5,700 BCE by people of the Pelagang culture. So these were early farmers. They grew millet, they raised pigs, they made pottery, they buried their dead very carefully. And they apparently had at least one guy whose whole personality was bone instrument engineer. So archaeologists, they first started excavating Jiahu in the 1960s, but major systematic digs kicked into gear later on. China's always been kind of interesting, a start-stop, stutter-start kind of environment for archaeologists for a lot of reasons. A lot of those have to do with political and government. But the site itself, Jiahu, turned out to be a treasure chest of what we have come to know as early human behavior. So there are fermented beverages that they've found. There's symbolic carvings. There's ritual burials. And like I said, musical instruments that are so old that calling them ancient almost feels disrespectful. They're more like seriously prehistoric vintage. So the bone flutes, in this case, they came out of the ground starting in the 1980s and the 1990s. And that moment was basically archaeology's version of finding out dinosaurs had Wi-Fi. Like, it's so crazy to be unearthing a site where you're like, oh, look, these people didn't just like eat their family members when they died. They buried them. Like, they thought that was progress. They're like, oh, look, these guys actually organized burial sites. Hang on. What's this? A flute? So the flutes were made mostly from a very specific crane. It's called the red-crowned crane, and they would use the wing and leg bones. And the flutes are dated to 7,000 to 9,000 years old. So 7,000 to 5,700 BCE. So the best preserved ones have 7 to 9 finger holes on them. And some were still playable when they discovered them. So imagine being the first person in like 8 millennia to grab a crane bone flute and to play it again.
And to play Three Blind Mice. You know they played Three Blind Mice. It's not even a question.
Go ahead. What? So imagine the pressure that would be. Like, you're like instantly back in kindergarten. You're like, oh, crap, what's the fingering? Because what if you suck? What if you picked it up? You're like, you're the first one to play it in 8,000 years and you totally just botch it, right? So one flute was cataloged as M282:20. It's the rock star of the group. It has 8 holes. They're all carefully drilled. And when researchers played it and analyzed the actual spacing of the finger holes, they realized it produced notes eerily close to a modern pentatonic scale.
Hmm.
So the same 5-note scale used in everything from Chinese folk music to blues to rock riffs, and that one background track in every inspirational YouTube video ever. So it used the same scale. So the pentatonic scale, it's a 5-note pattern that avoids the most dissonant, basically, intervals of a 7-note scale. So 7-note scale being like if you started on middle C on the piano and just ran your fingers up the white keys, 7 notes would be everything up until the next C. It skips all the dissonance.
I just practiced my crossover for the first time in forever.
Yeah, right?
That you had to learn in basic piano is your thumb.
Yeah. So if you take it to a pentatonic scale, then what that does is it takes out, like if you, instead of playing every note from C to C, if you instead held down every note as you played them, you would hear dissonance because C and D played at the same time sounds like a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
So a pentatonic scale skips all the dissonant notes and it says, so I'm going to play C, I'm going to play E, I'm going to play G, and I'm going to play, C again or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's scared of dissonance. So what they found was that it blends with everything. It's musical tofu in a way. It never offends anybody and it's kind of always welcome. So here's the weird part though. The Jiahu flutes don't just incidentally hit a couple nice notes. In this case, their whole placement shows intentional acoustic planning. So they played it and they're like, okay, so it's a stable tuning system.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that they had intergenerational knowledge transfer. So because there wasn't, I kind of was making it sound like there was just like one wizard cranking out flutes, but this was something that based on the dating, the flutes spanned a large carbon dating. So this was something that was passed down. So it wasn't just a 6-year-old playing a flute until his dad broke it. It was like, hey, go hang out with grandpa. He's going to teach you how to make the bone flutes. And it was passed down.
Okay.
Um,
I'm looking at one right now and it looks like it's made out of copper.
Yeah, right? Isn't that
It looks
wild?
like it's weathered copper.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah.
What's crazy about this is the scale, the design of the flute and the scale that was used for it. It predates what we consider to be music theory by thousands of years. These people were working with musical concepts before they had the words to describe them. Because remember, this wasn't a writing people. They didn't write anything down yet, but they were cranking out notes that sounded good.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, you saw it, why do they look like this? Why would they pick red cranes? So the red-crowned crane, it wasn't just an animal to the people of Jiahu, it was a symbolic animal. It was very sacred and ritually significant. And so apparently they had the ideal bone density also in resonance for wind instruments. So they're thin, but they're really strong. They're naturally hollow, super lightweight, and acoustically resonant. Everything you need for a good old recorder flute. So the crane was basically the iPhone of the Neolithic world. So it was really elegant, super functional, and everybody wanted one.
And it had apps.
Yeah.
Or you
So the
could
crazy
eat it as an app.
Crazy thing about this settlement in particular is the timing. So the flutes are older than Sumerian cuneiform, which we have determined in our current archaeological state, at least, as the first writing system.
Mm-hmm.
That kicked off around 3200 BCE. We're thousands of years earlier than that with the flutes. It's earlier than Egyptian hieroglyphs, which was 3100 BCE, and the earliest known written musical notation, which is the Hurrian hymn, which kicked off and was written by somebody in the year 2000 BCE. So for as long of a stretchy human history, music wasn't just written or composed. It was kind of remembered. So it was transmitted or kind of performed and refined and then taught and handed down through the generations. So it lived in people, not tablets. It was in their memory and in their fingers, and they were taught how to play it so
Tribal
well that it
knowledge.
was, passed down, and there wasn't a telephone game with it. You knew the song because your progeny learned it and knew it and everything. So, so anyway, some other things that were happening in Jiahu while they were making flutes. They were brewing alcohol at the same site and around the same time range. Archaeologists found residue of one of the world's oldest fermented beverages, and it was made from rice and honey, hawthorn fruit, and grapes, all things which would ferment 9,000-year-old booze, which means music and alcohol have emerged together, making Jiahu the world's first evidence that humans invent music and then immediately invent alcohol to go along with it. So, concerts 9,000 years ago. They were also very symbolic. They buried the flutes with their dead. So, like the red crane being symbolically and spiritually significant, it implies that the music, not just the flutes, but the music had ritual meaning. There was a social status that seems to be applied to the flutes, possibly a spiritual function for them, or at least at a minimum, someone was buried with their favorite instrument, kind of like I'm checking out, but the flute's going with me, I know everybody wants my flute, but I'm taking it. They also had a lot of symbolic carvings. So they produced some of the earliest known tortoiseshell and bone carvings that resemble proto-writing symbols. So proto-writing meaning kind of pre-writing. So they're debated as early ideograms. That means that the same people experimenting with sound were also experimenting with emojis. So they're unlocking language and music from opposite ends of human cognition, which is kind of like inventing math by starting at both 2 and 47 and then hoping the middle just kind of works out. So these guys they're upending a lot of our archaeological understanding. They knew pottery, they knew farming, they knew how to brew, pig ranching, crane flute manufacturing. And along with all that, I'm sure there was some relationship drama thrown in there. So they were probably like our OG rednecks, really, if you think about it. So anyway, I thought that was pretty wild. And you think about it, not only were the flutes created and the music created, but that meant that there had to be teachers. So in a time period where written language was just starting to be symbolic in symbol form, there were teachers that sat somebody down and said, "Hey, grab the flute we made for you. I'm going to show you how to play Freebird." So
on your bird flute.
I'll give you a couple more weird facts for the road just to wrap this up. So the red-crowned crane is one of the longest living birds. So it often reaches the ages of 50 or 60 years in captivity. That means some of these flutes may have been crafted from cranes that lived long enough to hear multiple generations of the jam that was going to end up being imbued in their body structure. Some of the flutes showed signs of repair and even re-drilling. So meaning they weren't disposable. They didn't like screw up and chuck it. They were curated and they were maintained as they went. And the fact that the scale is close to pentatonic suggests that human auditory preferences may have converged independently across culture long before civilization connected. So that's a cool thing, that before we could really write or we knew math or anything, that our ears were like, I like that, I don't like that. Do that again. Move the hole a little bit until it sounds good, kind of thing,
Yeah.
And that it wasn't random sound. It was actually structured, like a pitch relationship, between notes. That's pre-theory, music theory. It's pretty wild. So anyway, now you know all about bone flutes and the Jiahu people. So, now you know when your kid brings that recorder home, you might give them maybe 5 more minutes on it
Before you snap it.
you oh no, what happened to your flute? Where'd it go? We don't know.
Don't know.
End up
Oh, you left it
finding
on the
in
floor and I
roof.
accidentally stomped on it 37 times.
Exactly.
Oops.
Exactly. So, Jiahu. Now you know.
Now we know
Knowing
who
is
to
half the
blame.
battle.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with one more thing. If you haven't ever seen them, have you seen the G.I. Joe remakes, the PSA remakes?
No.
Okay. If you're listening and you're able to do so, you open up a tab, you go to YouTube. I'll do it with you. YouTube.com, Eunice. And you type in G.I. Joe PSA parody. You can also get them too, just G.I. Joe PSA. There's 25 in a playlist that it's remastered in HD just for your viewing pleasure. What they've done is they've taken all the G.I. Joe used to have these mini, when G.I. Joe TV show was on, I'd sit there and watch it. But during the commercials, they would actually play a G.I. Joe PSA commercial, which taught you something like, don't cook without your parents watching because you'll burn your house down. So they took all those PSAs and they changed the voices on them. Like they redid the voiceovers. So like one of them, it shows a group of kids walking down the street and one of the G.I. Joe characters stops them and like, hey, Billy, it's Billy, right? Oh, yeah, my name's Billy. How's your mom? Does she still work at Dockside Bars? What the heck? What? They're so fun to watch. It'll come and go in a heartbeat if you watch them all, but they're totally worth watching.
I was just I was just reading some of the subtitles, and one of them was kids chuckling stupidly.
It's so they've cut them up too, so like the pauses are longer and it's weird, but
nice catch, Blanco
so
Nino. Too bad your ass got sacked, because it's just like football, and that was the end. That was the whole thing.
There's one, and like there's like background voiceover too. There's like one where the kids all run out on the ice on a pond, and the PSA was like, be careful, don't go out on ice on a pond, otherwise you'll drown. But in this one, they like all run out on the ice, and you hear one kid like way off in the distance be like, last one on the ice is a penis pump. They're so stupid, but it's the best 16 minutes you'll spend a day. Marissa asked me in the back door. There was a bit of a gap in us recording the Neverdaily. My dad had been in the hospital for a long time. We put him into the hospital with some unknown symptoms, and he was in there for a long while. And we got him out just before Christmas, and they ran every test that the hospital in Boise could think of. And the hospital he was at it's renowned for its heart surgeons. And we have no answers. And so the latest is we've got him home and he's still showing the same symptoms. They've run a massive number of tests. There's a couple tests we're still waiting on answers from. And we're hoping to get him down to the University of Utah Hospital for specialists. This is years in the making. Like something happened several years ago, which almost made him catatonic, where he'd sit in a chair so long that he'd almost get bed sores sitting in the chair because he was just so fatigued and memory loss and short-term memory. And he's not old enough for all that yet. And it's been hard. It's been really hard. And it's one of those things where when you get old enough, or your parents get old enough, that the circle of life circles back and you start taking care of your parents, you're never ready for it. And I heard a thing a little while ago that said your children will take care of you in a mirror form of how they were raised. And fortunately for me, I was raised with amazing mom and dad. My dad worked his fool head off to try to support us always and everything. And so I appreciate it. I've had a lot of people reach out about our situation. It's ongoing, and it has its kind of changed some things as far as my day-to-day. My research and writing has taken place sometimes from a hospital corner chair or at their house, but it's one of those things. It's just one of those things. But everybody's got their thing, so that's just my thing. But we're back on track here. And if you've also noticed, I'm still releasing Neverdaily episodes that we recorded in the past, so I'm still doing that and catching up. I still have, I believe, three more to release, but I've preloaded the next 2 weeks already, so I'm still cranking them out. We did release the one while there was a gap with me on the show. You and Kevin were on the show, Kevin from History Goon, and that was a fun episode, so hopefully everybody's enjoyed that one.
The Mr. Rogers episode.
Yeah. I'll leave you with one exciting little nugget regarding the 911 Calls podcast. I'm going to have a 2-time Emmy Award-winning guest host on an upcoming episode very soon, and I'm really excited for it. I got a little bit heady. I got a little bit ahead of steam when I snagged him, and I was like, this is cool. Maybe I can make this thing. And I reached out to one of my favorite drummers from a band, and we're friends on Facebook, which is weird, but this band is like multi-platinum. I have no idea why we're friends on Facebook. And he's doing new projects with like the producer of Sublime and crazy stuff. And I reached out to him on Messenger. I was like, hey, I have a show and I think you would like to be on it. And he was like, not right now. So I was like, oh, dang it. So I've got some head of steam, but I'm also being checked in humility. So, but a two-time. I'm excited about it. So, that's to come. And I think everyone's going to love what he does too. Cause it's not, if you're thinking, oh, 2-time award winner, oh, it's an actor and we're all going to have to pretend like we like his films. No, this guy has done stuff that you're all going to be like, I love everything he does. I love him. I didn't even, and I'll tell you this, you probably don't even know who he is, but I'm excited about it.
All he's going to do is just come on and do this. Just play drums on his microphone.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and that was it. Thank you for listening. And
that was it. No, I'm still working on getting my first rock stars on the show. I thought I'd get one of my favorite drummers. It didn't work out. But he left with definitely something I'd like to do in the future. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't. That's enough, So I was like, thank you for replying. I really appreciate it. So anyway, more to come.
I'm going to be real excited to hear Neil Peart on your...
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Danny Carey from Tool joins me on 911 Calls podcast. Yeah, that'd be amazing. I might just try. Maybe I'll try. And one more thing. Where are we at with Almost Fiction?
So because of a family emergency that happened, I have some catching up to do. So we spent our whole Texas trip. My brother's, without going too much into it, my little brother's father-in-law got hit by a car. He's been in the ICU for a long time. So we've just been, I just wanted to spend my whole time, helping the little kids try to cope with it during, Christmas season and, trying to keep their minds occupied. And some of them are just old enough to kind of know what's going on, but not really. And so I just tried to, be as present as I could during that time. Cause it's been a hard couple weeks over it. over at their house with everything they're dealing with, and Grandpa being in the ICU, and yeah, just not a good situation, but hopefully we'll get back to getting more content.
And you were planning
soon.
on getting down to Texas anyway, and then it kind of changed the whole.
Yeah, it happened like a week before we went out.
Oh,
so then it just turned into like damage control. So
yeah.
Yep.
So Chase was sick in
and
Texas.
I got sick.
And
almost made it the whole way, but didn't.
And built-in babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
But probably nowhere else you would have wanted to be at the time, I would assume.
No, and because
under different circumstances.
Yeah, my youngest nephew is just starting to talk, so it's fun just hearing him.
That's fun.
Like, he can't really, there's some things he tries to say that he can't. So one of his favorite things is, "You get out of there," because he's heard it so much. So he'll just be like, like he just did it out of there. Did it out of there. And then literally it means "you get out of there." And so
awesome.
If you say it to him, he'll repeat it. "Dude it out of there." And so, yeah, it's just fun. Little kids learning how to talk is just really, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we know everybody's got their things going into 2026, so we pray that everybody's got the support that they need, and we're grateful for the support we've got here. Thanks for being here and for seeing us through a little bit of a gap. So until 2 days from now, when we'll be back for another episode. Until then, soup, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.
So, soup, let's start the show.